Come on, bro. Give me your actor replay. It is action replay, and the answer to your request is no, I sighed. This had happened to me for many a month since I got my beloved AR codes at Christmas. My sister would beg for me to hand over the black cartridge, only for me to refuse, and she would walk away, dejected. A few days later, I was raising my Pokemon team when my game froze. I had saved, so I turned on my DS and inserted the action replay. But this day was different. My sister entered the room with a strangely blank expression on her face. With a cruel, icy voice, she demanded I gave her the precious AR. Naturally, I declined to oblige. I wasn't exactly sure what happened next. She tore the DS out of my arms and threw it to the floor. As it hit the floor, I heard my game emit a sound I had never heard before. It sounded like the DS was crying out in pain. As my sister left the room, satisfied that she had caused enough chaos, I fell to my knees and cradled the now shut console in my arms. Fortunately, the DS hadn't frozen again and was still on the action replay menu. I shrieked as I looked at the number of codes that were on the device. There were none. It was obvious that the AR had fried itself. So, rather than sit around and sulk, I removed the action replay and inserted my copy of Pokemon Heart Gold. Everything was fine, that was until I entered the Pokemart. Standing there next to the counter was a delivery guy, but dressed in green. I walked up to him and pressed the button, but nothing happened apart from the item found tone sounding. I opened my Pokemon menu and to my surprise, I found a Slowbro in my 6th party slot. He was a shiny too, but actually had a name, Intellect. At the shock of receiving a shiny Pokemon, I nearly threw my DS across the room, but I had enough restraint to hang on to it. I then switched him to the front of my party, but as I was soon to find out, Intellect was more intelligent than just his name. Whenever I talked to Intellect, he only seemed to be doing one thing. Intellect is thinking about something. I dismissed this, and the rest of the game played out fine. But when I arrived in Vermilion, I came to a halt. Intellect was intent on blocking my way, and no matter how hard I tried, he wouldn't let me past. I pressed A to talk to Intellect. Intellect has had an idea. Will you let him share it with you? I selected yes, as I had no idea what he was going to say next. Intellect wants to make this event never happen again. Intellect feels the pain of Luxray, Meganium, Fligan, Typhlosion and Feraligatr. This was my party at the time. Intellect's sprite displayed itself on the screen. It nearly made my heart stop. Physically, Intellect wasn't hunched over like he normally would be. His eyes had become black voids, lit only by a raging flame. His mouth was also wide open, filled with sharp teeth and 4 lengthened fangs. He had an expression of pure vengeful rage. Intellect will get your revenge. As soon as Intellect stopped speaking, the sprite of a female trainer walked up behind me and Intellect. I expected a conversation with the anonymous trainer, but nothing happened. Instead, I was instantly sent into a battle with said female trainer. At this point I had no control. All 6 of my Pokemon, including Intellect, were sent out onto the battlefield, and the trainer's name registered as traitor. This trainer had no Pokemon, and it seemed that no matter what happened, only Intellect would attack. Intellect showed rage. This did something quite unexpected. Traitor's sprite started to bleed. Life-giving fluid spewed from the trainer's chest, and every attack by Intellect just did more and more damage. Finally, the trainer fainted. I was instantly returned to the overworld, where Traitor was lying flat on the floor in a pool of blood. I tried to interact with the injured trainer, and the game returned this pitiful message. Traitor is clinging to life. Intellect walked up beside me, and I was entered into a conversation with Intellect. Intellect will end this all for you. Say goodnight to Traitor. Yes/no. No, no, no. I screamed into the microphone. Unusually, Intellect responded to this. Intellect doesn't need your command. The screen went black. An ear-piercing scream was again heard, coming from the DS, though this time it was heavily distorted, followed by a sound similar to the move slash. After this the DS froze. I haven't been able to use the game since, but on certain nights I still hear Intellect's commanding voice.